the elite top 5 competition. The HSBC Asian 5 Nations offers test rugby or development programs for all 28 members of the Asian Rugby Football Union. The aim is to grow the game in a region that spans Kazakhstan in the north to Indonesia in the south, Lebanon in the west, to Guam in the east. Over 44 million square kilometres with a combined population of more than 3 billion people. And the top 5 is the tournament showcase and is supported by 5 divisions beneath it in 2012, each offering promotion and relegation every year, creating a clear pathway for all participants to graduate to a higher level of competition. The A5N giving all teams from Cambodia to Uzbekistan opportunities to one day ascend to the top 5. Once every 4 years, the winning team from the top 5 receives a direct slot to the IRB World Cup. Next one's in the UK in 2015. What a big bash of rugby that's going to be. So we've got a reasonable crowd too. You'll see on the far side there's a couple of thousand people as we take a look at the standings. Well, Japan loudly and proudly on top of the table. Hong Kong with a hiccup last time out against Korea. Now Korea will play their game later today against Kazakhstan, which should see them, all going well for them, and Almaty go to second place, unless Hong Kong can squeeze a victory here today at the Prince Chichibu Stadium. As I mentioned, Hong Kong having a little hiccup 2 weeks ago against Korea in Hong Kong. They went down there 21 points to 19, and that was a huge game for Korea, coming back to the big time after 2 years. They were relegated after the 2010 competition. They went down and won the Division 1 tournament last year, beating the Philippines and Singapore, and then coming up and getting a go again at the elite competition, which is fantastic, and really announcing their arrival with that victory in Hong Kong last week. In Seoul, they went down to Japan 52 points to 8, but it certainly was a brave performance from the Koreans. They held the Japanese to 14 points to 5 at half-time, and they had a disallowed try just before half-time. Would have been interesting to see what had happened if they'd gone just a little bit more closer to Japan at half-time, as we see the two teams come out past that handsome Asian 5 Nations trophy made by the Hora brothers in India, donated by the Mumbai Gymkhana and the Calcutta Football and Cricket Club. And similarity there to the Calcutta Cup, another famous trophy played for between England and Scotland in the Northern Hemisphere. So both teams meaning business today, and one of the theories to Hong Kong's loss 2 weeks ago was that perhaps they had their eye on this game. They were second last year in the competition, and I know that the coaching team from Hong Kong really wanted to have a big performance here today. So they'll be fancying their chances against this fresh, young Japanese team. Korea giving them a bit of a hurry up in the first half, and Eddie Jones having a few stern words to say at half-time. That's for sure. There's the Hong Kong team. They'll be playing in blue today as we just take a pause for the national anthems.
First of all, the national anthem of People's Republic of China.
There's the Hong Kong captain, Pale Taute, looking for a big performance today. He's been a little low energy in the last couple of weeks, struggling with a thumb injury.
The national anthem of Japan.
Listen to the Japanese national anthem. the Japanese team as they go through their final paces here just before this big matchup. So don't forget, if Japan win today, they'll have sealed their 5th ever Asian Five Nations title. As we take a look at their team, it's the same 22 for Japan that beat Korea, but 3 new faces in the starting 15. At hooker, Takeshi Kitsu gets a start over Arita, and Atsushi Hiwasa at scrum half. He's just come back from Paris. He came off the bench last week, and now he gets a start over Jun Fuji, who's at number 20. And the other replacement there is Tatekawa, who started last week. He'll be replaced in the starting 15 by Tamura. And the coach for Japan is the inscrutable Eddie Jones, vastly experienced rugby coach coming in this Japanese setup, really trying to push them through to the top 10 in world rugby. For Hong Kong, well, there's been a few more changes from their defeat last 2 weeks ago against Korea. 5 changes, in fact. And Haynes at number 13 makes his first ever Asian Five Nations game. Ross Armour's back at fullback. Keith Robertson and Mark Wright, they played against the UAE in the first match but missed the Korean start. And Kado Lee, number 9, is starting there for Hong Kong. The young 20-year-old Tim Alexander, his replacement on the bench. There's the Brains Trust for Hong Kong, Guy Reese on the left, and Lee Jones is the head coach for this tournament, and also Joe Shaw, the backs coach there, ex-professional player with Newcastle in the English Premiership. Referee for today, a familiar face, is all Singapore team. Azhar Yusof is our referee. He'll be assisted by Harry Mason and Paul Mackay.
Red ready! Blue!
So ready for a start of this HSBC Asian Five Nations game between Hong Kong and Japan. Kicked off by Keith Robertson, down deep to Hiwasa, who gets it to Ono, and Michael Leach has the first hit up of the game. Really trying to focus Leach's work on ball carrying at number 8, playing his second game there since high school. So a penalty against Hong Kong. This will be an interesting clash in the next few minutes, because the Koreans really matching the Japanese physically last week, causing a lot of frustration for Eddie Jones. Japan not getting over the gain line. So I'm sure for Japan there'll be a real focus here to just make sure in the first few minutes they really hit those runs, one-off runs, very hard to get through the defence and get a bit of momentum going. For Hong Kong, they realise they probably won't be able to have the same intensity and physicality as Korea, so they may have a few tricks up their sleeve. First liner, Ono struggles to get a one-handed tap back to his namesake Ono at standoff. Good tackle from Mark Wright. And referee getting in the way a little bit there, but I think it's Nagai or Hatakiyama, in fact, getting isolated and managed to get the ball back slowly. Good work, good pressure from Hong Kong at the breakdown. Again, you see first man in is Hewson for Hong Kong. It's good work. Just managing to get forward though to their 10-metre line, Japan. This time it's Leach again. Unfamiliar at number 8. Really an open side flanker. Played there for the Japan team in the last World Cup. Mark Wright makes another good tackle, but Japan managing to get over this game line. Slowly but surely. Ono again flips up a nice little ball to a runner, Semba. This time it's Makabe, who wasn't really expecting it, and Hong Kong trying to extract the ball back. Referee screaming at the Hong Kong players to get off. The direct route from Hatakiyama, this old man of the team in his mid-20s now, but he's played over 30 internationals at Hatakiyama. Interesting actually with Eddie Jones not rewarding him with a captaincy. He was really the man in the dog box, if you like, last year, captained a couple of times. Hatakiyama, a very good strong prop. Discovered at Waseda University, Bob Dwyer, about 6 years ago. Nice pass from Tamura. He gets it to Goromaru. There's space here. Oh, superb pass. The try machine. Great defence from Yukam Singh though. How did he get that to chase Onizawa down? That was an incredible pass from Goromaru. We'll see it front on here, but this pass from Goromaru to Onizawa. He had Yukam Singh in the way, but just look at that, inch perfect. But Yukam Singh is a sprinter. Onizawa tries the big handoff, but Salam getting back. Good defence there from the right winger. And Onizawa, well, he needs one more for his half-century in Test match rugby. So he'll be very hungry for that, that's for sure. Hong Kong with a defensive line-out working well. Robertson, Lee Jones with the smash ball.
No.
Japan thinking about getting around, but referee telling them the ball's not out. And Robertson hurries his kick, but manages to get it away outside the 22. Goramaru, the star fullback, was tried and tested in the John Kerwin era, but not really kept for very many long periods. Goramaru scoring 182 points in club rugby this year, really announcing to Eddie Jones he was ready for another go, and he's made every post a winner since then. Leach again, fourth run of the day for Leach. Oh, that's good work from Wright though, really slowing it down, getting over the ball. Takayama again, who looks full of running too. This time it's Tamura. He's really got some vision for a young player. Tamura was overlooked for Takakawa the last couple of games, but Takakawa looking a little tired. So Eddie Jones saying in the press conference, just getting some fresh legs for this game against Hong Kong. Again, slow ball for Japan, frustrating the Hong Kong team. Getting very close to getting awarded a penalty against them. Hitoshi Ono this time picks it up. Ono, the scrum now goes in. It's Mochizuki, who always makes a difference when he gets his hands on the ball, doesn't he? Last week against Korea, superb. Tamura, who just drifts through the gap. Like a ghost in the night, Tamura goes through for the first try. Well, it was superb pressure from Japan. They didn't panic. The ball was slow, coming from a series of phases around the 22. We just see some very good work here from Tamura. That was a superb pass to Mochizuki, who really is a hard man to stop. I liken him to a 10-pin bowling ball going through the pins, even against Korea, who were fantastic in defence last week. Mochizuki was the man who made the difference. And here he is again, just committing 2 tacklers and really giving them some go forward. All of a sudden it was all on, wasn't it? Hirose was there as the link man from the right wing as well. Good work from him. And Yu Tamura, this young man from the NEC Green Rockets, with his second Asian Five Nations try. And really did start out as the favourite for this inside centre berth. But Tatikawa has played a couple of good games there. Just come from university, Tatikawa, so not used to the intensity week on week. So Tamura's got a battle royale for that number 12 jersey. Has got Amaru this time. You would have heard it, I think, on the superb audio supplied by the host broadcaster. Just scuffed his kick before the foot made contact with the tee. So that's the start of the scoring today. It's Yu Tamura with a try, and the score 5 points to 0. Hope you're enjoying this coverage wherever around the world you're watching. And we've got a few interested viewers in New Zealand to cover the Hong Kong players originally from New Zealand, and in fact this man too, Michael Leach, originally from Christchurch. Mochizuki again. Massive man. Certainly plays above his height and weight as well. Offside there from Hong Kong, so playing advantage. Tom Bolland just going over the line there. So Japan faking to go quickly through Hawasa, but instead gives the ball to Kosei Ono. Ono, another product of New Zealand in a way, was born in Japan, immigrated out to New Zealand, played his rugby in Christchurch. It's Charles French, the lock for Hong Kong. Hong Kong certainly not lacking in size, certainly in the height stakes they're taller than the Japanese lineup. And Sasaki at the front gets very quick ball. Didn't look completely straight, but the referee plays on. Again, Hong Kong offside. They're really going to have to watch that. And Mochizuki, oh, he's a strong lad, isn't he? It's Tamura. He goes for a little run. December is centre partner. Almost at the 22 now. Hawasa digs it out well. Hitoshi Ono over the 22 now. In support is Makabe and Hatakiyama. Quick ball again for Hawasa. Out to Sasaki, who took the line out on the other side of the field. You can see now even the Hong Kong intensity is flagging. This is great work from Japan. They're playing at such a pace here. Ono decides to go himself over the line. He's millimetres away. Ball's there now. Penalty against. In fact, it's a try. Let's see who gets up with it. I think it might be Nagai, the loose head prop. In fact, it's a Sasaki. I saw the jersey. I thought it was a 1, but it was a number 7. The open side flanker, Takamichi Sasaki, with his 4th try this year in the Asian 5 Nations. He got 2 against Korea last week in the last few minutes of the game where fitness was really showing. You'll see here Japan just arriving in numbers after 4 or 5 phases. Hong Kong just failing to keep up, ruck on ruck, with the Japanese. And Sasaki at the back of the ruck must have been a heck of a stretch underneath the big horse, the prop there from Hong Kong, Steve Nolan, but managing to get the ball down over the line. Referee Yusof in a very good position. Konamaru will want to hit this one a lot better than he did the first. And it gets the 9-iron out this time and threads it through the uprights to make it 12 points to 0. Konamaru now has 91 points this season in the Asian 5 Nations. That's in his 5th game. So certainly averaging over 18 or 19 points a game. And that would be some effort to get 100 points in this tournament in 4 games. If you can manage that, it certainly is a sterling effort as Robertson looks to restart again. Mochizuki's under, takes it well too. Technically such a good player too. Mochizuki plays a lot of his club rugby at Toshiba at lock, so he's very used to being in there in that firing line as far as kickoffs go. This time Hong Kong defences up quickly, but again Japan are just so determined in this collision zone. They're really hitting them hard, Hong Kong. There's Kizu, the man who gets his first start with the Asian 5 Nations. Knock on there, I think from Sasaki at the face of the ruck. And we saw, as the curtain raiser of today's game, a clash between the Japanese women and Hong Kong. Japan coming out winners eventually, but again at half-time it was about 12 points to 5. Just want to mention, if you ever get the chance to see the Japanese or the Hong Kong women's team in action, go and see them. Standout for me was Aika Suzuki, the outside centre for Japan. What a superb game she had, running beautiful lines, setting people up. And one to watch in the future, that's for sure. Aika Suzuki. So this was an area that Japan would want to work on after the Korean game last week. I thought not the most convincing scrummaging performance from them. And I really want to put pressure on this opposition put-in through Hatakiyama here at tight head. He's up against Ridgway from Hong Kong and really giving him a good buck into the contact. The referee says free kick and come back Kado. On the mark, says referee Azar. So Hong Kong, what are they going to do here? They're going to scrum it again? Well, that defeats the purpose a bit, doesn't it? A scrum free kick and they set up a scrum again. And Ridgway really getting hit hard here in contact. The Japanese at the World Cup last year surprising everybody with their technical efficiency at the scrum, the pace of the hit. Even holding their own against the massive French pack. And that'll be one of the keys if they're going to make it to the World Top 10. Really need to look after your own ball as Hawasa gets round. Gives Karoli no time at all to get the ball out there. But they've recovered well here. And looks like Tom Boland will take it away. He's a nice strong runner. Got to try against Korea with that burrowing running style. Lee this time gets it to Robertson, runs straight at the line. And Haynes with his first ever Asian 5 Nations touch. This is an important period here for Hong Kong. There's Tati, takes it away nicely. It's good from him, that's what we're going to see more of. The more they hold on to the ball, Hong Kong, the less they have to tackle, so they really want to make the most of this period on attack. Great pass from Robertson to Wright. Wright with a so-so pass, but well picked up there by Haynes. Hewson this time takes the ball to the line. Toshi Ono trying to get the ball out there for the turnover, but not quite enough time on his hands. Robertson again, what an orchestrator he is. Up to the fullback Ross Armour, and that's good defence there from Goromaru on his opposite. Oh, he is a real physical player, Ayumu Goromaru. And Armour, he prides himself on his physicality, but watch this tackle from Goromaru. Nice positioning of the head, takes him up just enough and smashes him down. But be a bit careful these days that you don't lift the player over the horizontal. We know about that from some test matches in the last few months, don't we? Ono goes for the banana style kick out into touch, doesn't gain too much ground. Goromaru has spent a lot of time suspended in the 2008 season for foot tripping, but he certainly seems to have worked out his tackling style now. Keeps it, line out time, goes to the middle with Mochizuki, who's taking on game by game more responsibility as a player. That's what you'd love to see. Coach giving you more roles to play. The youngest player, Mochizuki, making his debut this year at 30 years old. And Leach, oh, if he'd just taken that ball cleanly, he could have been away. So Leach, I was having a word with him last week. He played a lot at 7 for the Rugby World Cup, and he's also played a lot at 6 for Japan. He's playing his 25th international today, and Eddie Jones has said to him he wants him to be a number 8 now, so he's just trying to work that puzzle out in his mind, work on his running lines. It was very noticeable last week that as a normal 7 he was always first or second in on the tackle, and created a lot of turnovers, which is a bonus, but as far as his core game, the ball running from the base of the scrum and also out through phases, he'll have to work hard on that. This is positioning. This is Armour, who decides to take it to the line again. Oh, that man was in from the side, but the referee's let it go. Michael Leach gets his hands on the ball and away he goes. Mochizuki there with it. 8 metres away now. Hawassa wants the ball right now. Playing advantage here against Hong Kong. Nick Hewson making a right proper nuisance of himself. And wouldn't surprise me if the referee might have a word here, yes. As the frustration boils over for Japan.
Let go. 15! Blue, let go. Walk away, please, walk away.
Well, that was an interesting one, because if we go a couple of phases back when Hong Kong were in possession, one of the Japanese players screaming in right from the side and grabbing the ball, which referees didn't seem to see. So we'll come back.
Captain, please.
Yes, there'll be a little warning here about slowing down at the Rucker Mall. I think Hong Kong will have to be very careful here. Obviously, they want to slow down the pace of the ball.
It was a slow ball where I was playing advantage. No need to be pulling and shoving it. Right, just keep it clean, please. Thank you. I'm on.
Referee is out. Very cool, calm, collected man. So, I'll put this one into touch. And undoubtedly, they'll go for a bit of a rolling ball here. We saw it last week against Korea. Look for Kizu at the back of the mall too. He'll throw this ball in. Such a big strong man. Got 4 tries against Kazakhstan last year in similar positions to this. So up it goes to Mochizuki, who really is just claiming a senior role within 2 or 3 internationals. Here's Kizu at the back of the ruck as predicted. Got a couple of minutes to go. Look at the leg drive. Ex-sumo wrestler, but good defence from Hong Kong. Ball's still there though. Makabe's trying to go in and sort it out. Hawassa this time, look to the blind side. In fact, Hawassa pulling them open. Good defensive rucking there from Hong Kong. Leach gets it where he doesn't want it. But again, Japan is willing to slow it down. They've got possession. Sazaki's outside here in a pod. Also Nagai and Ono. Goes to Sasaki. Steps away from his support. But quick ball for Hawasa. Blindside this time. Ono. And he'll go himself. Hong Kong are saying they were obstructed. There was a lot of traffic in front of the runner. Kosei Ono goes over. His first try of the season. He's obviously the playmaker for Japan. Does a great job directing the traffic. And you'll see here, well, there were a few tight forwards in the way, but really there were a number of players outside with Japan. Onozawa was screaming for it. I want my 50th try, but Ono, seeing nobody in front of it, decided to grab it for himself. Good reward for him. In fact, his second try this season. Good reward for him. He really does direct the traffic well. And the key for me against this Japanese team is to really shut him down. Defensively, he seems to get no pressure on him. And attack-wise, he's just so wily. He's always got an option to let the ball go before he comes into contact. We count on a single hand the times he gets tackled during a game. Such is the quality of his distribution games. So Goramaru unsuccessful there. Bit of trouble there in his kicking game this week. See Mochizuki there on the right. What a great season he's having. So Hong Kong under the cosh already in this game. I thought they might be able to hold it up in the first 20 or 30, but Japan really ready for business today, aren't they? Learning their lessons from last week against Korea. Putting the hammer on straight away. Hawasa to Ono. Nice little fake to Leach. He gets wrapped up nicely though, wasn't it? It's a ruck. Again, runners through Hatakiyama, like a rampaging rhinoceros. Gets through. Kizu. The hooker. Hawasa again. Ono. Flat ball to Leach again. He's really up to some work, isn't he? The ball runner of the team. Straight through goes Hatakiyama. Oh, gets bashed by Arnold with the shoulder. I don't think Hatakiyama was expecting that from the big Scotsman. Sasaki this time. Out on the wing. Good defensive work from Vati, who gets over the top of the ball well too. Mura goes in to play scrum half, and Ono puts the big calm on Ridgeway. Mochizuki again to Leach. Oh, Takayama knocks it on this time. Well, he is a try-scoring machine, Takayama. He's already got 10 tries in international rugby, including 2 about 3 seasons ago. I think it was 2009 at the Hong Kong Rugby Club. He got 2 against Hong Kong. We'll see here. Not sure if there's too many arms in this tackle from Armour, but fair enough, he was giving away about 30 kilos, and he brought him down to ground. Ross Armour and Kensuke Hatakiyama from the Miyagi region in Japan. It was devastated by the tsunami last year. We saw a harrowing video last year, this time that Kensuke took with his home video camera of his parents' home and what was left of the village that he lived and grew up in. But just talking to him, it sounds like things are turning around. Everything's cleared away, and they might be ready for business again in Miyagi. Also, a couple of the players affected by Fukushima as well. Hitoshi Ono, the lot forward, his parents have a dairy farm there, which has obviously been affected. And we even had a little shake yesterday afternoon here in Tokyo, just to remind us of where we were. Important scrum for Hong Kong. And they are under pressure too. Good work from Japan, but Kato Lee gets it away to Armour, who ploughs a big right boot into it.
Take over. 1. Bring it down, left. 1. Great.
Penalty against Nagai, the loose head prop. So Hong Kong will get the chance to put this one out and have the throw into the lineout. Yasuko Nagai pleading innocence. Not the first prop to do that after a scrum penalty, that's for sure. Big man from the Ricoh Black Rams. He's played 4 seasons there. and lists his blood type as A. If you're interested. Obviously in the front row you lose a bit of blood every season. French, nice take from him in the line out. Really scaling high. Lee Jones from the Valley Club in Hong Kong. Lee from Kowloon. Robertson from DEA, combining well. Good quick ball for Hong Kong, but Lee sees the wall that is Makabe in defence, runs into it. Hong Kong can bowl it here. Good period of play for Hong Kong. They really need these periods. Robertson puts in a kick to Goramaru. It's gone out in the full. That one just drifting away.
Not releasing after the tackle.
The breeze was into Robertson's face, but it just, judging by the flag, seems to have died away. So that's probably the reason there for his miscalculation. Robertson struggling with a shoulder injury. After about 10 minutes against UAE, he was really struggling. Went off at half-time. Didn't make the Korean game, and they really missed him. Has the ability to really run at the line and ask questions of the defence, as Ono does for Japan. So great to have him back, and he's looking reasonably free. You see him flicking his right arm there. Keep it warm. So who will Hong Kong go to in the lineup here? They've pulled a four-man lineup. Japan don't seem to have expected five men. You'd like to think Houston at the back will get this one. In fact, he's moved to the front to get it. Nono's wide to that. Taps it down to Mochizuki. Ridgway trying to drag him down like a rodeo performer. Hirose's in from the blindside wing. Nagai plays 105 kilo scrum half, takes it away. This time it's to Ono again, who puts a lovely inside ball to Senba, who gets it to Kidu. Leach again. Well, he's really getting into his work at number 8, isn't he? And that ball-carrying responsibility that Eddie Jones wants to thrust upon him. Such a fantastic athlete. Playing advantage here for Japan. Oh no, gets tackled for once. Takes the tackle. Still playing advantage here, so it's Tamura who passes to nobody, so we'll come back for the penalty. Hong Kong in from the side at a ruck.
Coming in from the side.
Tamura, who's played well today. Plays a lot of his rugby at 10 for the NEC Green Rockets. Playing with Cameron McIntyre, an ex-Super Rugby player from Crusaders and Highlanders, so learning a few tricks of the trade. NEC, one of the surprise packets this year of top league rugby, making the top 4. And having the help of a massive wing by the name of Namani Nadola, who broke the record of top league tries. So Ono being a little conservative there, peeling up about 6 or 7 metres. 20 metres out from the try line. Sasaki at the front again. He's proving to be an important option for them here. I don't think Hitoshi Ono has taken a line out ball yet, apart from the steal just a moment ago. But on their own throw, they've been content to use Sasaki and Mochizuki. Leach this time. Not as fast as Japan would like this ball, but Makabe's pleading for it, and he gets it. Takes the tackle of right. It's making a real handful of tackles. Onozawa just drifting behind Ono there. But the defence were up for it. Hatakiyama again with another run. Good work from Hitoshi Ono. 4 metres away, and undeniable there from Japan. Oh, and the referee's saying held up. I'm not sure if we take a look at the slow-mo, we may see that he got it down. It's Sasaki again, who really has the sniff for the try line, doesn't he? We saw that when he plays for Suntory this year. He's always there to finish on the move. Let's just take a look at it again. It's hard to see, isn't it? Ross Armour doing a very good job of getting his hand under, and also Lee. Not very good. Kado Lee as well. denying Sasaki there. So attacking scrum though for Japan. Hawasa gets it in. Referees are not happy.
Just hold it up a little bit more.
This young 20-year-old scrum half for Hong Kong. Good pace about his game, which of course he needs today, because every time he gets the ball at the back of the scrum or ruck, he's under incredible searing pressure. Wasa to Leach. Leach gets it off, running a standard 8 to 14 for Hirose here. And the easiest of tries for the Japanese captain, Toshiaki Hirose. Good set piece move from Japan, making it look oh so easy. This Japanese team featuring a lot of unsung Toshiba players who have been in the wilderness during the John Kerwin era, and Eddie Jones having no hesitation to bring them in or back in, as the case may be. And Toshiaki Hirose is a case in point, along with Yuta Mochizuki, two Toshiba players in their late 20s and early 30s who have performed well over the years at club rugby, but never really been given the chance in the national team, and now making every post a winner. Hirose, the captain of the Toshiba team, the heart and soul of the team, a lot of people say. In fact, he gave up the captaincy to Toyota this season, but still one of the natural leaders of the team. So it's out to 24 points to nil. Goromaru with the second conversion today, moving his points total for the season to 93. Hirose, yes, the most sparkling of players, but always there, very consistent, and is spoken so highly of as a leader, both in club rugby and now in international rugby. Hard to gauge where that respect comes from sometimes, isn't it? But he's certainly a lovely guy. Says he's very big on positivity and respect as he gets the ball again from his wing teammate Onozawa. Kawasa gives it to Leach, who arrives at the line at pace and lacerates it too. Good run from Leach. Tamura this time at first receiver. Gives a lovely ball inside to Ono. This is good play from Japan. Ball breaks down slowly now for Takayama, squeezing the ball out to Sasaki. Hong Kong over that offside line again, but we play on. Just listen to the chatter, it's fantastic to hear, isn't it? Nagai gets a big help there from Makabe up his rear end, surging him forward another 3 or 4 metres. Leach again, who is loving his role today, isn't he? Tamura, such a good ball carrier player, Leach. The more chances he gets, I'm sure he'll grab them. Hirose over the 22 now. Kawasa playing advantage again, and I'm sure the referee is not going to have much more patience with Hong Kong here if they keep infringing. Ono can spot a gap or two, so can Tamura. He goes through it. It looks like advantage was over there for the offside, but we're coming back. Never flagged by assistant referee Harry Mason, who's been beckoned by Yusof.
Was it?
Yeah, just a pass near the halfway line. Blue 2, late tackle, no arm.
Blue 2.
Yeah.
Recommendation?
Yellow card.
Where's the back
at the late halfway line.
Okay. Blue 2.
A little foul play there from Tom Boland.
Blue 2. Blue 2.
Not sure if we can dig up the replay for you, but there was a tackle, a late tackle with no arms. Obviously Boland trying to keep the aggression level up. In defence. Looks like Tom Boland will be spending a little time on the bench though for the next 10 minutes.
Number 2 blue, late tackle and no arms in that one.
Are you sure?
Off we go.
So that's sad for Hong Kong. They really need the full 15 on. And they will spend the last 10 minutes of this first half without their uncompromising hooker. Perhaps he should have made a compromise in the timing and technique of his tackle there. So we see it's Ono, but that's a very, very big call from Harry Mason. And it wasn't really even a big hit. You see there it was a partial tackle. If that was the incident, frankly I'm speechless. And that's the thing about Ono, he takes the ball to the line, he commits the tackler, and I don't think he had any issue with the timing or technique of the tackle there. So a bit of a bonus as if they needed it for Japan. They're 24 points to 0 ahead, and now they're 15 against 14. Such a shame for the game that Hong Kong lose one man here. Obviously they're struggling trying to keep the points total down. To lose a person like that is unjust, really. Oh no, it is first line-out take from their throat. Good mauling here from Hong Kong. They've held it up well. Oh, good start from Hong Kong. And sometimes an event like that can just gee up the remaining players, can't it? We saw there Nick Hewson. Superb effort from the angry dairy farmer from the Waikato. You see there, he'd come through from an onside position, just latched onto the ball and like a limpet wasn't going to let go of it. Good work from Hewson. Kidzo. Big fan of sumo wrestling. Kidzo was a schoolboy champion himself. His idol was Goeido, famous champion sumo wrestler. But he gave up sumo and took on rugby full time. Now plays his rugby at Kobe for the Steelers. At Tokai University. Well, short ball to Ridgeway. That surprised Japan there. They got formed and Japan again with their hands on the ball. Houston this time with some ball carrying duties. Lee to Robertson. Has he got some magic up his sleeve? Telegraphed inside ball to Haynes there, but he does well. Oh, in fact, he's been robbed of the ball. Sasaki on the ground. So it's time for Japan to attack. And attack they do. Goramaru through Onizawa. Robertson falls over, sadly. The fancy footwork from Onizawa there. Robertson ending up with his legs looking like a pretzel there as Onizawa ducked in and out and in and out. All Keith Robertson could do was fall on his back. So see here the steal. And Hong Kong getting numbers to the ball, but some good work from Sasaki. Split second stuff. So just have an injury here to Hong Kong prop Stephen Nolan, the man they call Horse, who has to count as a 131 kilo frame around the field at high pace. Just coming back from a calf injury, so maybe not yet at full steam as far as the fitness goes. So we'll scrum it with Hong Kong. We'll put into the scrum. 5 minutes left until half time. The score's 24 points to 0. Tries to Tamura, Sasaki, Kosei Ono, and Hirose. 2 conversions to Goramaru. And of course Hong Kong with a yellow card. Tom Boland in the bin. Free kick to Hong Kong. Lee. Again, referee slowing Hong Kong down. And again, was he behind the mark? Gary Lee seems to think he was. He's only been playing rugby for a handful of years. Went to school in England, to the Asheville College in the north of England, and decided, well, in fact it was compulsory to play rugby there. So in he went and he's never looked back. And great talent. So for the first scrum since the sin bin, Alex Harris will have to come on into the front row, and Nick Hewson will have to go off for a while. You really got to feel sorry for Tom Boland there if that was the tackle that we saw on the replay. Nothing really in that. The man from Winchester, the chartered surveyor. And he'll be surveying things from the bench for the next 5 or 6 minutes. Pretty unsteady scrum there for Hong Kong. 7 men, of course. Tauti takes it away, smashes into the Japanese defence. Good work from Tauti, playing a lot better today. Harris gets smashed off the ball by Mochi. So Japan have got the turnover, and they've got numbers out here to the right as well. It's got a Mara on the end of the chain. But Hirose takes it up and commits the Hong Kong defence to the right. Leach decides again to take it to Brown. Ono. Got some Spragle type forwards. This time it's Onozawa though. Is this number 50 for the Eel? Steps around Armour oh so easily. And it's number 50 test try for Hiroki Onozawa. What a legend. Well, in the commentary box beside me, the Japanese commentary team consists of Daisaki Ohata, who's the world record holder at test tries at 68. Well, he's got Onozawa sniffing. Now he's in his 71st test, and he's played, and he's scored 50 test tries. So he's up there in the pantheon of test try scorers, that's for sure. Onozawa, and it's a trademark try. Not a hand being laid on. I'm going to feel sorry here for Ross Armour, who just gets skinned. All ends up. Lovely right foot step. And it's just more of a swerve, and he manages to retain his pace so well. And that's try number 20 in Asian Five Nations rugby. Now slipping clear of Alisi Tupu Ailihi, who was on 16, who at the start of the season was the record holder. So I think Goromara would like to get this one over. He's just 14 metres inside the touchline. But again, he drags it round. He's hooking the ball, isn't he? So 29 points to 0, and Goromara would be angry. Got Tamura there in the lineup, who's done a bit of kicking, and of course Ono can also kick at goal. So they have some backup if they need it, but I'm sure Eddie Jones would just like to get Goromara right, because his general play, and in fact his kicking play so far this season has been superb. He's kicked 27 conversions in his 5th game. Ono this time underneath it. The other veteran in this Japanese squad with Onozawa. It's his 59th test today. Still looking as fresh as a spring lamb. Sasaki. Now the rugged form there. And Mark Wright, who plays this rugby in Japan for the Toyota Shockey Shuttles. He had a brief second where he could have got in and peeled the ball away, but once he had some men over the top.
You got to release after the tackle, eh? Alright, back it off. Release. No. Get release first, eh? Marcus here. Send.
So yes, Hong Kong conceding a lot of penalties in this first half, but really Japan having advantage in possession and territory. They've put them under a lot of pressure. A lot of tackles being made by Hong Kong, so that's going to come as a result of that. Just trying to stem the flow. So the general. Again, another man who didn't get the chance he deserved perhaps in the Kerwin era. Got a couple of tests around 2007 when he was a 19-20-year-old and then cast aside, but obviously matured in the last 4 or 5 years. Plays this rugby with did play his rugby with the Coca-Cola West Coast Sparks, now moving to Suntory, the champion team that Eddie Jones had just finished coaching before this Japanese job. Hawasa with his first little skirt around the side of the ruck. Ono again commits tackles to him. Through the middle goes Hatakiyama. Hawasa again, and it's Kizu who gets a lovely ball to Leach. Leach gets grabbed by the ankle, luckily. Goromara is up in the line. Tamura. Oh, runs into Mochizuki there. Yeah, so it will be a penalty. It's not accidental, says the referee. Mochizuki's a big man and hard to get around. Tamura is just trying to cut inside. It's good to see that sort of penalty being awarded too, because we do see a lot of runners screening the ball carriers sometimes and attack. And Hong Kong will leave the pressure with 40 minutes up on our clock. 40 minutes just up on the master clock on the scoreboard as well. So this could be the last play of the first half. It's Harris who's on for Boland. Wright goes up in the line out. Good aerial work from him. This is Lee Jones. He struggles forward. Paute this time gets the ball and just puts his head down and mows into the Japanese defence. Lee again passing the ball behind Robertson, but he manages to get it, and this will drift inside the 22. Koromaru, easy mark, and this will be half time without hesitation. Bangs it into touch. Well, it's been a very entertaining, sparkling first half of rugby from Japan. No messing around this week against Korea. They were thwarted by an angry defensive effort from Korea. And right from the first whistle, Japan were going to have none of that nonsense today. They've been looking good. And it's 29